Cognitive improvement after stroke through neuroplasticity, reawakening hidden facts and dormant knowledge, number 1405, VMT Sharp 736, TDA Sharp 019, October 26, 2025, Gerald C. EclaireMD Foundation. Category, Stroke. Preface, my philosophy, the transition from verbal speculation to quantitative proof. Defines the difference between my medical research and traditional biomedical studies. Medical professionals often speak with 26 alphabets, I speak with 10 digits. Words can be twisted or misunderstood, but numerical digits cannot lie. Human language can deceive, but numbers reveal truth as it is. 0 is not 1, and 4 is not 7. Traditional medical research often relies on opinions, descriptions, and interpretation, easily shaped by bias or economics. My medical research approach replaces speculation with mathematics, physics, and engineering principles. Numbers follow natural laws and cannot be manipulated by rhetoric. In this way, I transform medicine from a language-based art into a quantitative science, grounded in energy, geometry, and data integrity. Where others speculate with words, I demonstrate with numbers, and numbers never lie. Introduction. Following my hemorrhagic stroke on June 21, 2025, I experienced an unexpected cognitive transformation. After 1 week in the hospital and 1 week of bed rest, I began regaining focus and gradually resumed light mental work. Near the end of July, week 35, I realized that my stroke resembled a viscoplastic reaction under severe dynamic loading, a concept my PhD mentor, Professor Norman Jones at MIT, taught me in 1972. I saw that both his research in dynamic plasticity and my medical research on mortality diseases address extreme cases. The outliers ignored by traditional statistics. Mainstream medical research, being population-based, focuses on averages, rather than individuals. This approach, reinforced by funding from the food, pharmaceutical, and insurance industries, serves economic interests more than scientific truth. By late August, week 38, as my neuroplastic repair advanced, I suddenly recalled topology, a subject I studied in Taiwan 58 years ago but had not used since 1968. Then, in mid-September, week 41, I remembered stochastic methods for structural safety, a subject I learned at UC Berkeley 48 years ago. These long-forgotten concepts resurfaced naturally and integrated into my medical research, as if newly formed neural circuits had reconnected to deeply stored knowledge. These recoveries were not mere memories but breakthroughs, new forms of intelligence and reasoning, emerging from the neuroplastic rebuilding of my brain. Cognition level and strain. I measure my cognitive clarity using a cognition level score, CLS. 100 is crystal clear thinking and quick understanding. 0 is complete confusion or exhaustion. The cognition strain, CSL, reflects how much effort my brain must exert to maintain clarity, combining recognition, strength, conceptual precision, and creative ability. These strain values are my estimated data, not measured by any instrument. 3 major breakthroughs occurred. 1. Week 35. CLS rose from 67% to 75%. I realized that my work and Professor Jones's research both focused on outliers, the extremes that traditional statistics overlook, due to economic influence. 2. Week 38, CLS rose from 77% to 85%. I intuitively applied topology to analyze geometric variations and continuity in my medical data. 3. Week 41, CLS rose from 89% to 95%. I began integrating stochastic reasoning into biomedical models to study probability within dynamic biomedical systems. These advances showed that neuroplasticity not only repaired neurons but also reactivated dormant knowledge, merging old learning with new analytical capacity. Pathophysiological explanation. When stroke damages neural pathways, neighboring or opposite brain regions often assume lost functions. Dormant synapses can reactivate and connect to current networks, allowing previously inaccessible knowledge to resurface. Conceptual memories such as topology or probability remain stored even when unused for decades. As brain neurons connectivity improves, these frameworks re-enter working cognition. Motivation, curiosity, and daily analytical practice further reinforce this reconnection through favorable biochemical and electrical conditions. From the VMT perspective, reduced internal neural friction lowers energy barriers for retrieval. Less dissipated energy allows smoother access to old knowledge, integrating it with new insights. Perfusion stability and cognitive function. Over the past 4 months after stroke, my pulse pressure, PP, dropped from 50 to 44 millimeters of mercury across 10,000 collected blood pressure data points. This indicates better arterial compliance and reduced vascular stiffness. In VMT terms, the vascular hysteresis loop area shrank, meaning lower energy loss per heartbeat. Improved vascular mechanics stabilize cerebral perfusion, providing optimal conditions for neuroplastic learning and executive function. Perfusion stability refers to how consistently blood flow is maintained through brain tissue. Enough to supply oxygen and nutrients, but not so high as to stress or damage vessels. Normally, the brain regulates this flow automatically. However, after stroke or an advanced age, auto-regulation weakens, making stability depend more on mean arterial pressure, MAP, and PP. Cognition reflects the brain's ability to reason, plan, and connect ideas. When blood flow and energy use stabilize, thinking becomes clearer and more efficient. After my stroke, neuroplastic balance, steady, PP, improved sleep, and emotional calm collectively strengthen my focus and reasoning. Key stressors in cognitive recovery. For this study, I used 4 main stressors. MAP represents average blood pressure and overall cerebral perfusion. PP indicates vascular stress and perfusion stability. Lower PP means smoother brain blood flow from reduced vessel stiffness. Sleep hours, SH, reflects nightly neural recovery and memory repair. Walking steps, street, represents physical activity and oxygen delivery. At age 79, cerebral perfusion depends on maintaining both MAP and PP within a safe range. Too low a MAP can cause ischemia, too high may rupture vessels. I use MAP as 85 mm of mercury as my baseline for stable perfusion. PP reflects pulsatile stress and arterial stiffness. My target is PP is 40 mm of mercury to maintain vascular elasticity and cognitive protection. MAP ranges and physiological meaning. MAP less than 60 mm of mercury. Insufficient blood flow, risk of ischemia. MAP 70 to 100 mm of mercury. Normal perfusion, healthy balance. MAP greater than 110 mm of mercury. Excessive vascular resistance or hypertension, risking hemorrhage. Thus, MAP around 85 mm of mercury provides ideal cerebral stability. Together, MAP 85 and pages 40 create balanced reference values for my VMT, and TDA analyzes, linking steady perfusion and reduced pulsatile stress to long-term brain health. During stroke recovery, I require more rest and moderate activity. Therefore, I set 7.9 hours of sleep and 4,500 daily walking steps as my normalization values. Physiological conclusion. MAP represents the steady component of cerebral blood flow, while PP captures its pulsatile rhythm. Balanced MAP and PP maintain smooth microcirculation and consistent energy supply to neurons, essential conditions for clear, stable cognition. Neuroplasticity rebuilt not just my memory, but my analytical capacity. Reawakening knowledge from decades past, and integrating it into my present medical research work. Through quantitative observation of MAP, PP, sleep, and walking steps, I have proven that cognitive restoration can be scientifically measured, explained, and sustained. VMT analysis plan. Concept. VMT models cumulative, nonlinear, and irreversible energy behavior of a system, including biomedical system. Choose one primary strain output and a small number of stress inputs. Compute normalized trajectories over time and quantify energy areas to measure damage, healing, or adaptation. Computation sketch. Compute viscoplastic energy as the cumulative area, under the stress versus strain path, or an equivalent discrete summation that captures the hysteresis loop over time. Report total energy, energy by contributor, share percent, per stressor, and change in energy between epochs. Visual interpretation. Shrinking loop area means lower dissipation and better system efficiency. VMT results observations. The VMT energy contribution ratios from 4 stressors indicate that pulse pressure, PP, plays a slightly greater role than mean arterial pressure. MAP and sleep is more influential than exercise in determining my cognitive condition. PP is 28.8%. Sleep hours is 26.2%. MAP is 25.9%. Walking steps is 19.1%. My cumulative VMT energy trajectory over the recovery period is summarized below. Week 30, 0%. Week 34, 67%. Week 35, 75%. Outliers. Week 37, 77%. Week 38, 85%. Topology. Week 40, 89%. Week 41, 95%. Stochastic. Week 43, 100%. TDA analysis results. This TDA analysis uses 4 normalized input variables, N1 N4, over 14 weeks. N1 is PP, N2 is MAP, N3 is sleep hours, N4 is walking steps. Each week's data forms a 4-dimensional point, representing overall perfusion and cognitive recovery state. Principal component analysis, PCA, reduces these 4 dimensions into 3 orthogonal axes, PC1, PC2, PC3. PCA variance distribution. PC1 is 99.0%, PC2 is 0.6%, PC3 is 0.3%. PC1 clearly dominates the total variance, meaning one major energy direction drives nearly all system behavior. Here, PC1 represents the main viscoplastic energy flow. The combined effect of blood pressure, MAP, vascular stability, PP, sleep, and walking activity on my brain recovery. It shows how these four stressors move together along a unified recovery path, reflecting the body's total systemic energy that links stable perfusion, smoother neural function, and improved cognition. Even though PC2, 0.6%, and PC3, 0.3%, contribute very little to total variance, they still represent subtle adjustments in the recovery process. PC2 reflects secondary balancing among the stressors, such as small interactions between sleep and blood pressure, while PC3 captures even minor, fine-tuning effects, like short-term behavioral or physiological fluctuations. Together, they describe the brain's micro-adjustments that stabilize the main recovery path defined by PC1. Key data table, simplified PCA projection, 2D diagram, a cognitive trajectory map of PC1, horizontal axis, versus PC2, vertical axis, 2D diagram interpretation. The trajectory moves from the far right, week 30, high PC1, to the far left, week 43, lower PC1, showing geometric contraction, a topological signature of recovery and stabilization. The early weeks, week 30 through week 34, show wide dispersion, indicating unstable perfusion and cognition, while later weeks 35 through week 43 cluster tightly around PC1 as approximately -0.6, representing equilibrium. ASCII 3D scatter diagram, PC1, PC2, PC3, 3D geometric observation. The 3D cluster forms a curved surface contracting along PC1, confirming that all stressors progressively converge toward a balanced cognitive state. The largest shape contraction occurred between week 35 through week 41, coinciding with outliers topology stochastic related cognitive breakthrough. TDA summary. The TDA results confirm a strong one-dimensional, dominant trend. PC1 is approximately 99% variance, with a clear geometric contraction pattern. This reflects neuroplastic stabilization and vascular balance. The early post-stroke stage showed large dispersion and unstable perfusion, while later weeks achieved a compact topological form, a hallmark of systemic recovery and cognitive optimization. VMT-TDA combined interpretation. The VMT analysis quantified energy contributions from four stressors, PP, MAP, sleep, and steps, while the TDA analysis visualized their collective geometric evolution. Both methods converge on the same conclusion: a steady and nonlinear recovery of cognitive function through improved perfusion stability, neuroplasticity, and behavioral balance. In the VMT model, energy ratios show PP, 28.8%, as the dominant vascular stressor, followed closely by sleep, 26.2%, and MAP, 25.9%, with steps, 19.1%, contributing less. This hierarchy reveals that vascular stability and restorative sleep drive cognitive improvement more strongly than physical activity alone. In the TDA diagrams, the early recovery weeks, 2025-32, 2025-34, occupy a wide geometric area, reflecting instability in vascular and neural systems. From weeks 35 to 38, the topology contracts sharply toward the center of the 2D and 3D manifolds, marking synchronized improvement in both blood flow and neural connectivity. After week 40, the cluster becomes compact and nearly stationary around PC1, is approximately -0.6, demonstrating system equilibrium. The PC1 direction, 99% of total variance, acts as the primary recovery axis, representing integrated energy flow across perfusion and cognition. PC2 and PC3 capture residual minor adjustments in neural and behavioral alignment. Overall, the integrated VMT-TDA findings confirm that cognitive clarity rises when pulse pressure decreases, MAP stabilizes, sleep duration remains long and consistent, and moderate exercise sustains oxygen delivery. The transition from geometric expansion to contraction symbolizes the brain's viscoplastic remodeling, energy efficiency, perfusion stability, and neuroplastic synchronization, forming a unified recovery pathway. Integrated data tables and figures as shown at bottom of this article. The combined dataset includes longitudinal weekly records of four normalized stressors: PP, MAP, sleep, and steps, and their corresponding cognitive strain, CLS. The top section presents both raw and normalized values, while the middle tables summarize viscoplastic stress strain energy and cumulative recovery progression, C. VMT%. The four figures at the bottom illustrate complementary perspectives. 1. VMT energy diagram shows strain-stress relationships and energy contribution ratios, confirming that PP and sleep exert stronger influence on cognitive stability than MAP or steps. 2. CLS% versus cumulative VMT% plot demonstrates how cognitive improvement closely follows viscoplastic energy accumulation, supporting quantitative linkage between vascular, behavioral, and cognitive systems. 3. TDA2D-PC1-PC2 diagram visualizes geometric contraction across weeks, representing topological stabilization of recovery dynamics. 4. TDA3D-PCA trajectory shows the integrated curvature of recovery space, where the contraction of the manifold corresponds to systemic energy reduction and improved neural coordination. Together, these data tables and figures provide a full dynamic picture. The VMT model quantifies stress-strain energy flow, while the TDA model captures geometric evolution and system shape changes, both converging to explain the same neurovascular recovery process from energy and topology viewpoints. Disclaimer: I write this paper not for fame, but to share what I have learned so others can understand their health, prevent disease, and live longer, healthier lives. This content is provided for educational reference only, and does not constitute medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share this summary freely, but it must not be altered, edited, or republished as your own. All intellectual property rights and copyrights for this article and its related materials belong to the author, Gerald C.